I normally wouldn't make a video kind of in this sort of vein if the player involved hadn't gone through the things that he has gone through. Sure, jersey number changes happen all the time, but when it comes to this individual player in particular, it makes it a lot easier for us to go out there and dissect his history, what he's done in the past, all of the success he's exhibited in different parts of his hockey playing career, and try to compare those times to what we have seen lately out of this player, especially playing for the Montreal Canadiens. So, today we're going to be going over to the Habs and their Twitter account from 2 days ago and talking about the latest new number 27 on the squad. He was formerly wearing number 92, he is now switched over to Alexander Romanov's freed up number. It is Jonathan Drouin. Take a look at the tweet over here. He's wearing the number 27, and then the graphic attached to it is, I believe, a jersey swap, because I don't think he's had any pictures of him wearing number 27 in a Canadiens uniform before, but either way, this was the way the Canadiens went out there and announced the number change. It was on Twitter, it was on social media, it's whatever. This is why I said at the beginning that I don't normally make videos about these types of things, because it's like, okay, cool, the guy's changing his jersey number. Why is that such a big deal, Lego? Why do you feel that that's important enough to make a video about? Well, if we go over on Montreal Hockey Now, we have ourselves an article that I wanted to read out here to you that kind of goes over why the Drouin 27 link is more important here than any other jersey number change that we have seen with any of the other players over the past few years. This is the piece that I'm referring to. Jonathan Drouin, looking for a fresh start, changes his jersey number. Again, very simple baseline news at surface value. However, if you go over to history, it kind of makes a lot more sense why this number could potentially be the start of the revival of Drouin in his career. Montreal Canadiens forward Drouin is looking for a fresh start and recently proceeded to a number change, one that would be familiar to Halifax Mooseheads and Tampa Bay Lightning fans. On Friday, the Canadiens announced that Drouin has decided to change his number from the usual 92 to 27. He had worn 92 since he started with the Canadiens in 2017, and with the recent trade of Romanov, he is seemingly going back to his junior routes, this season by choosing number 27. Not lost on most of the hockey world, Drouin was at his best in his career when wearing this number, both with the Mooseheads and during his time with the Tampa Bay Lightning. As he looks to put the past behind him and make the biggest impact on what will be a very important year for him, it's very interesting that Drouin would proceed to a number change 4 years into his Canadiens tenure with just a dozen days away from training camp. The rest of the article goes over a few more things, and before we go over the quotes that are actually listed here, I wanted to talk about Drouin and his entire profile as a prospect, as a Tampa Bay guy, back in the days when he was wearing this number 27 on his back and on his arms. Drouin, as we all know, was a former third overall pick. He was taken that high back in 2013, and the reason for this is because in 2012-13, he was an absolute monster with the Halifax Mooseheads in the QMJHL. 105 points in 49 games played, 41 goals and 64 assists. Drouin was also 2 points a game in the playoffs, getting 35 points in 17 games. He was an absolute junior beast, and there was nothing slowing him down. This was the scouting report for Drouin back in 2012. An agile forward, Drouin is very creative and a good skater. He's an extremely offensive player with fantastic hands and excellent on-ice vision. Drouin has a good shot, but is best used as a playmaker and is very dangerous on the power play. He's not a large player or an explosive skater, but he's very agile and able to play his way out of tight spots thanks to his hockey sense. Now, it's kind of funny because a lot of those things that was written about him back in the day kind of apply to him still, 10 years later. Like, he's really agile, he's not the best shooter, but he's a pretty good playmaker. He's got a boatload of assists year after year, but he doesn't really score too many goals anymore, which is unfortunate. I mean, yeah, we'll get into that as the video goes on. But pretty much, when Drouin was wearing that number 27, he was a monster in the QMJHL. Unfortunately, he didn't go first overall. That honor belonged to his teammate Nathan MacKinnon, who went first overall despite having much fewer points than Jonathan Drouin because, I mean, yeah, MacKinnon was really good. So, I'm not going to dispute that. As the years went on, though, Drouin still showed off very well in the QMJHL. After McKinnon left, he posted up a 108-point season in 46 games played, proving that he didn't need talent like Nate McDaddy beside him to score points. He also was a monster in the playoffs, getting 41 points in 16 games, too. So he absolutely came alive, eventually making the Tampa Bay Lightning bursting onto the scene as a 19-year-old. He had 32 points in 70 games played. Definitely not bad. The season after, he posted a half a point a game metric in the regular season and was under a point per game for the Lightning in the playoffs, and at this point, Drouin was looking better than ever. I mean, the guy is, 20 in this season, and he was just under a point per game for Tampa, so there was a lot to look forward to when it came to Drouin and his overall profile. The season after, he posted a career high in goals, points per game, and points, getting 53 points in 73 Lightning games. The season after, he went over to Montreal, and then we saw the Drouin that we currently have today. I mean, he had a 53-point campaign with the Canadiens in 2019, but that was in 81 games played, and he had fewer goals as well than he did in 2016-17, so that 16-17 campaign where he was only 21, that was technically the best season he's ever had. Now, we know injuries struck Jonathan Drouin at the wrong time. He only played 27 games in 1920, he only played 44 games in 2021, and he only played 34 games this most recent NHL season. Now, sure, he had 20 points, but there still were a few issues plaguing Jonathan Drouin and his ability to play hockey. The injuries, of course, and then you had the extended amount of time that he took off for himself, which definitely was something that I think is a positive decision to make for anybody in that position. He lost out on the opportunity to play in the Stanley Cup Finals because of it, though. So now, heading into 2022-2023, with the new number on his back, one can only hope that Drouin gets back not only the swagger that he exhibited in prior years in his career, but also the health as well. You want to see this guy be able to go out there and play 82 games. He's never done that before. The closest he got to was 81 in 2018-19, and potentially bring some of the scoring prowess with the number 27 as he had in the past. Let's go back over onto the Montreal Hockey Now article and go over the quotes from Drouin himself. "It's going to be up to me to prove to management to keep me for more years to come," Drouin replied when asked about entering the final season of a 6-year, $33 million contract that carries a 5.5 AAV. "It'll be my play on the ice that will do the talking throughout the year. You've just got to play your game, and if they want that on the club moving forward, they'll make that happen. I had a good start to the season last year, but then my wrist. I've had surgeries on both my wrists, so that shouldn't be a problem this season," said Drouin on where he is with his health. "It was unfortunate last year. If I had my surgery in January, which maybe I should have, I would have been able to play at least the last month of the year with the new management and the new coaching staff." And so at the end of the day, with Jonathan Drouin going through the recovery process, the surgeries, and everything that he has had, physically, you could debate that he's at the best shape that he's been in a long time. Mentally, you could say that the time off that he took probably helped him out in terms of being able to adapt and cooperate with the idea of being a player in a high-value market like Montreal, so hopefully mentally he's doing all right. And then the other stuff, the extra mojo in there, the number, the energy, the vibes. These things aren't really captured by the physical or mental side of the game. I guess you could say it's sort of mental, but if there's some sort of placebo thing going on here saying, hey, he's got all the magic from prior years where he was at his best when it comes to his on-ice point production, maybe he carries over some of that swagger and mojo into the next season because he is in the final year of that 5.5 AAV contract. Then we'll see what exactly the Canadiens plan to do with Drouin because he is 27 years old right now. He'll be 28 by the time the 23 season comes to an end, so we have ourselves a very interesting story to be paying attention to. And I hope Montreal Canadiens fans go out there and praise this guy to heck when he goes out there, scores a few goals. Hopefully he scores more than 8 goals. He had only 8 last season, and things had gotten really bad for Drouin in terms of being able to produce in that department. He only had 2 goals in 2020-2021 in 44 games played, a far cry from the 21-goal marker he hit back in 2016-17 with the Lightning. So, when worst comes to worst, all we can do is hope for the best, and for Jonathan Drouin, I certainly will be going out there and cheering for this guy to revive his career in the best way possible. Who knows if the number change is the placebo way to get that done, but at the end of the day, there have been other improvements that he has had for him over the past few months. So talk in the comments your thoughts about Jonathan Drouin and where he goes from here. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.